When you think about her favorite position, it is easy to imagine that what makes it memorable for her is simply the pleasure of the physical mechanics. And yes, the body matters. But what truly sets apart the moments she will carry with her forever is not the motion, not the novelty, not even the intensity. It is the quality of your presence. The ability to anchor yourself completely in the moment with her, with no distractions, no ego, no performance, only awareness. Presence is more powerful than performance because performance is external. It is about trying to do something impressive, trying to prove something, trying to meet some invisible standard. But presence is internal. It is about being so fully absorbed in her, in the experience, that she feels your focus as if it is wrapping around her. And that, more than anything else, is what makes intimacy unforgettable. Think about it. How many encounters become forgettable because one or both people were only half there? The body was engaged, but the mind was elsewhere, thinking of technique, of self-image, of outside concerns. She can feel when you are divided in your attention. She can feel when you are going through motions rather than pouring yourself into the moment. And equally, she can feel when you are truly with her, when your focus is not scattered but centered, when she is not just another experience but the experience. Psychologically, presence is what allows her to relax. A woman can only truly let go when she senses that you are fully attentive to her. Presence communicates safety. It tells her, without words, that she can surrender without fear of being unseen or misunderstood. When you are anchored, she doesn't have to question whether she matters to you in that moment. She knows it because she feels it in every glance, every touch, every pause. Philosophically, presence is one of the deepest gifts we can give another human being. To be present is to resist the pull of past and future, to resist distraction, and to honor the moment as sacred. And intimacy, at its core, is sacred. When you treat her favorite position not as routine, but as a living, breathing exchange of energy, you elevate the act into something far greater than physical gratification. You turn it into a moment of communion, of shared humanity, of connection that dissolves the boundaries between you. Now, what does this look like in practice? It looks like locking eyes with her when she opens hers and not looking away. It looks like tuning into her breathing and letting your body move in sync with it. It looks like catching the subtle shifts in her expression and adjusting without her needing to say a word. It looks like giving her the sense that in this moment, nothing exists outside of her, that she is your focus, your center, your world. And here's what's powerful: presence does not require perfection. You don't need the perfect technique, the perfect body, the perfect performance. You only need the willingness to bring your full self into the space, because what she remembers most is not the technicalities. It is how she felt in your presence. Did she feel seen? Did she feel cherished? Did she feel like time stopped and the only reality was the two of you? If she did, she will never forget it. But there is a challenge here. Presence is difficult in a world that constantly pulls us away from the now. We are distracted by our phones, our stresses, our insecurities, our inner noise. To anchor yourself in presence requires discipline. It requires choosing to set aside the chatter in your head and enter the moment with openness. It requires humility, the humility to stop performing and start connecting. When you give her that kind of presence, her favorite position becomes something entirely different. It is no longer just a physical act. It becomes an experience etched into her memory. Because long after the sensation fades, she will remember the depth of your attention, the steadiness of your energy, the way you made her feel as though she was the only woman in the world. So if you want to be unforgettable, don't get lost in the illusion that it's about tricks or techniques. Anchor yourself. Be there, fully, without division. Give her the rare and priceless gift of presence, because in the end, presence is the one thing she will always remember, and presence is the one thing she will never confuse with anyone else. Once you've anchored yourself in presence, the next step is understanding rhythm, because intimacy is not a race to be won or a performance to be perfected. It is a dance. And like any dance, it only becomes beautiful when both partners are in sync. A woman's favorite position is not just about the mechanics of the body. It is about the flow, the pace, the rhythm that allows her to feel not only pleasure, but harmony. Too often, men approach intimacy with an agenda. They bring their own pace, their own rhythm, their own idea of how things should unfold. But when you impose rather than attune, you create dissonance. She may go along with it, but she will not feel fully connected. What makes her favorite position unforgettable is not that you take the lead blindly. It's that you listen, you adapt, you mirror her natural rhythm until it feels like the two of you are moving as one. Psychologically, rhythm is linked to trust. The human nervous system is incredibly responsive to synchronization. When your pace aligns with hers, her breathing, her moans, the way her body responds, you send her the message, I see you, I hear you, I feel you. This creates safety, and safety allows for release. When she doesn't have to fight against your pace, when she doesn't feel overpowered or ignored, she can surrender to the moment. And that surrender is what amplifies intimacy. Philosophically, rhythm is a metaphor for relationships as a whole. Life with another person is about harmony. It is about learning when to lead, when to follow, and when to simply flow together. Intimacy magnifies this truth. If you can align with her rhythm in the most vulnerable of spaces, you demonstrate the same capacity to align with her in the broader landscape of life. She feels it not only in her body, but in her spirit, that you are a man capable of listening, of adjusting, of valuing her input without needing to dominate. This is why aligning with her rhythm is so much more powerful than forcing your own. When you move with her, she feels chosen. She feels understood without having to explain. And that understanding is what creates unforgettable connection, because it is not just about what you are doing. It is about what you are communicating. Every synchronized movement is saying, I am here with you. I am not rushing ahead. I am not dragging behind. I am exactly where you are. Now let's bring this into practice. Aligning with her rhythm requires attention. It means tuning into her breath and letting that guide your pace. It means noticing when she arches, when she pauses, when she changes her energy, and matching it rather than ignoring it. It means creating a dialogue with her body where your movements are a response to her signals. This is not about guessing. It is about listening with your entire being. And when you do this, she doesn't just feel pleasure. She feels a sense of unity that lingers far beyond the physical. But here's the deeper part. When you learn to align with her rhythm, you unlock something rare. You allow her to step into her fullest expression of femininity without hesitation. Because she feels held by your attunement. She feels that she can move how she wants, breathe how she wants, express how she wants without fear of being misunderstood. And when a woman feels free to fully express herself, the memory of that moment will mark her forever. This is where many men fail. They focus on control rather than harmony. They chase intensity rather than flow. But what women remember is not how fast you went, not how strong you were, but how deeply you made them feel understood. Understanding her rhythm is not about ego. It is about empathy. It is about setting aside your own agenda long enough to meet her where she is. And when you do, she will never forget it. Because here's the truth. Rhythm is not mechanical, it is emotional. It is not just about sensing bodies, it is about sensing energies. And when your energy is attuned to hers, you give her a kind of intimacy that no position, no technique, no performance alone can ever replicate. So don't rush, don't impose, don't turn intimacy into a performance. Instead, align. Let her rhythm guide you. Let the dance unfold naturally. And in that alignment, she will not only feel pleasure, she will feel unity, harmony, and connection so deep that the memory will outlast the moment. Because in the end, what she remembers is not just what you did, but how perfectly you moved with her. By now, it should be clear that what makes a moment unforgettable for her isn't just the position itself, nor the rhythm you keep, but the depth of connection you bring into it. And this is where the mind-body link comes in. Because intimacy at its highest form is not simply physical, it is psychological. Her body may respond to touch, but her soul responds to meaning. When you find a way to weave the two together, you create a memory that imprints itself far deeper than sensation alone ever could. Think about it, the body forgets. Sensations fade quickly. But the mind, and even more so the heart, remembers how an experience made it feel. And so the man who can speak to her emotions, her sense of being desired, her need to be seen, will leave a mark that lingers far beyond the moment. This is the difference between physical satisfaction and unforgettable intimacy. Physical satisfaction can be replicated by anyone with the right moves. But the mind-body connection, when you engage her heart, her imagination, her inner world, becomes uniquely yours in her memory. Psychologically, this works because arousal not confined to the body. For women especially, the brain is the largest erogenous zone. Words, eye contact, tone, and emotional atmosphere can heighten her pleasure more than sheer physicality ever could. When you whisper affirmations, when you let her know how much you desire her in that exact moment, you're not just pleasing her body, you're shaping how she experiences that pleasure. You're telling her mind, you are wanted, you are beautiful, you are mine right now. And her body responds to that truth with even greater intensity. Philosophically, this speaks to the unity of human beings. We are not separate fragments, body in one corner, mind in another. We are whole. And when intimacy honors that wholeness, it becomes transcendent. To touch her body while ignoring her emotions is incomplete. To speak beautifully while failing to connect physically is equally hollow. The magic is in bringing both together so that the physical and the emotional intertwine into something seamless, something whole. That is when intimacy becomes unforgettable. What does this look like in practice? It looks like speaking to her even as you move with her. It looks like saying her name softly at the right moment. It looks like telling her what she means to you or what you adore about her in the heat of her favorite position. It looks like maintaining eye contact when she opens her eyes, holding her gaze just long enough for her to feel that you see her, not just her body. It looks like choosing words that are affirming rather than empty, words that let her know she is more than just a body in your arms. She is desired, valued, treasured. This is how you elevate intimacy from the physical to the psychological and then to the spiritual. Because the truth is, intimacy that touches the body alone is forgettable. Intimacy that touches both body and soul becomes permanent in memory. When she remembers you, it won't just be because of how you moved, but because of how you made her feel. And feelings, when deeply stirred, do not fade easily. There is another layer to this, though. When you engage her mind and emotions during intimacy, you are also building trust. You are showing her that you are not just seeking release for yourself, but that you are invested in her experience. This makes her feel safe, and safety opens the door to deeper expression, deeper surrender, deeper connection. It becomes a cycle. The more safe she feels, the more open she becomes, the more open she becomes, the more unforgettable the experience becomes for both of you. This is why some men leave lasting impressions even without perfect technique, because what they bring is not mechanical skill, but emotional intelligence. They understand that intimacy is as much about communication as it is about contact. They know that when you engage her mind, when you affirm her, when you remind her of her beauty, when you let her feel desired, the physical act multiplies in intensity. So don't underestimate the power of words, of energy, of presence that goes beyond the body. Look her in the eyes. Speak to her in ways that affirm her worth. Let her feel that she is not only touched, but seen, cherished, adored. That is how you elevate the act into an experience, and that is how you make yourself unforgettable. Because in the end, it is never just about what you do to her body. It is about how you reach her soul. And when you can do both at once, you become the man she will never forget. What makes an experience unforgettable is not only how it begins or how it unfolds, but how it ends. Too many men underestimate this truth. They think the memory of intimacy is sealed in the heat of the act, in the height of passion, in the fireworks of climax. But in reality, what lingers in a woman's heart is often what happens in the quiet moments afterward. How you close the experience tells her everything about how you truly see her. It reveals whether she was a partner to be cherished or simply a moment to be consumed. When she has just given you herself, in her favorite position, in her most vulnerable state, the way you handle the ending is sacred. This is the moment to treat her not as an object you've exhausted, but as a woman you honor. Reverence is the difference between forgettable and unforgettable, and reverence is not complicated. It is as simple as holding her instead of pulling away. It is as simple as whispering, "That was incredible," instead of falling into silence. It is as simple as letting her know that what you just shared was meaningful, not transactional. Psychologically, this matters because the mind is wired to attach strong emotion to the final impression. It's called the recency effect. We remember most vividly the last moments of an experience. If those last moments are cold, detached, or indifferent, then the warmth of everything that came before gets dimmed. But if those final moments are tender, affirming, and connected, they magnify the memory of the entire experience. What you do in the afterglow writes the story she will tell herself about what just happened. Philosophically, this speaks to how we value people. Do we treat others as ends in themselves or as means to our own gratification? Reverence communicates that she is an end in herself, worthy of respect and tenderness even after the physical act is done. It shifts intimacy from being about what you got to being about what you shared. And when she feels that shift, she doesn't just remember the position or the rhythm or the words. She remembers the meaning. She remembers that she was not used, but honored. In practice, reverence can take many forms. It might be the way you cradle her after it's over, letting her rest her head on your chest while your hand traces her back. It might be the softness of your words, telling her how beautiful she looked, how much you enjoyed her, how deeply connected you felt. It might be silence, but the kind of silence filled with presence, where she feels your arm around her, your warmth steady, your energy unhurried. It might be the way you look at her afterward, with the same intensity as during, showing her that she is not just a momentary escape, but someone who matters to you. And here is the secret. It is often in those small gestures, those seemingly ordinary actions, that women decide whether an encounter is unforgettable. Because passion is everywhere. What makes you stand out is Redsman. Any man can bring heat. Not every man can bring honor. And honor is what transforms her favorite position from a pleasurable memory into a cherished one. Some men shy away from this because they fear it looks too vulnerable, too soft. But vulnerability is not weakness. It is strength. It takes strength to stay after, to hold, to affirm, to care. It takes strength to treat her like a queen when the passion has passed. And women remember that strength. They remember the man who not only desired them, but respected them. So if you want to be unforgettable, do not neglect the ending. Seal the moment with reverence. Let her walk away not only with the memory of pleasure, but with the certainty that she mattered to you beyond the physical, because what she will remember most is not just how her body felt, it is how her soul felt in your presence. And that is the true mark of intimacy. Not the height of the act, but the depth of the connection it leaves behind. So remember this, any man can create excitement. The unforgettable man creates meaning.